welcome back to the channel, and today we've got our first track guide on GTSPORT for the GR.3 race on the daily race within the sport mode. It's something I think that's really important to do, as a lot of you guys will know qualifying on this game is done through time trial, so you really want to be able to get the most out of your lap as possible and really get yourself as far up that grid as possible. A lot of your safety rating will depend on it. I find that if you find yourself within 8th to 12th place, you're going to be stuck with a lot of drivers that will get a little bit aggressive, etc., and you don't really want that, especially going into turn 1. You want to be at the front where it's a lot cleaner and you're not going to come across any accidents, etc. So we want to get yourselves at the front of the grid. So I'm going to be doing these track guides with a lot of different cars, different groups, etc., mainly for the sport races, and we'll do some other ones as well, and to do with obviously the career mode. We'll do a few of them as well as we go along. We want to get yourselves, everyone who follows my channel, everyone who subscribes, I want to give yourselves as much of an advantage as I physically can by putting these laps that I do up on my channel and giving yourselves a track guide. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys watch this lap at full speed without any commentary, and then we're going to slow it down and point out some of the things that I think you need to pay attention to, like braking zones, etc. So enjoy the lap. So what we'll do now is we'll go into the track guide and point out the braking zone, some of the positioning of the car, some of the things you need to be careful of, etc. So going into turn 1, we're going to be first of all looking out for our braking zone. Very important braking zone going from such a high speed. We're going to look to brake just before the 50 on the right. So as we slow it down now, you can see just before the 50 we're braking very hard down into second gear, and you want to trail brake all the way into the apex of the corner so you skim that curb, and then just be patient before you put full throttle down. Then a little lift before you hit that curb, because if you're going flat out over that curb, you run the risk of spinning your car and sliding off. That's what I find so far anyway. So just a little lift, then back on the power, and then full out all the way, flat out now, all the way down the straight. And then you're going to be looking for your next braking zone, which again we're going to be looking for that 100-yard ball on the right hand side, braking just before that. I like to brake a little bit shorter, that fit the 100, going down into third gear. Don't like to go into second gear, I like to keep it in third and trail brake all the way into the apex, getting on the curb as much as possible there, and then on the power as early as you can without running wide. If you run wide, you're going to lose time because the car's going to become unbalanced and it's going to be bouncing around and you lose a lot of traction. So then coming out of that corner, we're going to, again, this is a very important corner, braking just before the 50, down into fourth gear, just lift off the throttle, then down to third gear as we hit the apex of that curb, and then just let it coast around the corner. You can see me throttle is not on full 100%, I'm just letting that coast around a bit, then full on the throttle once I know the grip's there, and then braking very early for this corner. You want to get yourselves braking early so that you can get over this curve as much as possible. This is to ensure that you get the car the best angle into this next left-hander. You don't want to be on that left-hand side too much, you want to be coming from the right-hand side, and then sticking to the curb as much as possible in second gear. Again, not full throttle until we feel the grip is there. Full throttle down now, and then accelerate up into this right-hander. Another very tricky corner, braking down very early again down into first gear, and you want to really get onto that curb a bit more than what I do now. I missed the apex slightly, maybe lose a tenth or so. On the power in first gear, flat out now, and then just a little lift. You'll see what I do through this corner is I give it a little lift, because sometimes the car can run wide, so I just lift off that throttle fractionally for a very small amount of time. Then down into second gear just before the 50 on the right, braking very early and getting the car onto the apex of the curb before putting, we're very cautious on the power before we put maximum throttle coming out of the corner. If you're too early, you're going to run the risk of running wide and losing a lot of time. You don't want to lose that time going down this straight. And again, another important thing for this straight now is get your car over to the left hand side and really cut as much as you can off that pit entry there by there, and stick to the left hand side by the wall. It's the shortest distance to the finishing line. It may only gain you a thousandth of a second, but every little bit is important, especially for these races, which can be very close and competitive. So I hope you enjoyed that lap and my first track guide for GT Sport, and I'm going to be doing plenty more in the future, and I'll be back with other videos obviously as well. Hope you enjoyed the lap, and I'll be back very soon. Thanks again for watching, and make sure you click that like button if you've enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more videos in the future.